Hi guys. Uh, one guy, son of Montezuma, he did a. He showed you all a tool that he uses. It's a torque multiplier. Pretty much anybody that's working out in the field, heavy equipment, even on the trucks doing suspension, you should have a torque multiplier, or at least your shop should have a torque multiplier. They are very handy to have. Uh, I'm going to show my torque multiplier that I have here. It's just a different style. Um, most torque multipliers, you see, are 3 to 1 or 4 to 1. I don't do as much as I used to, but I used to do a lot of heavy equipment, a lot of undercarriage work. I still use this quite a bit. This is a 14 to 1, inch and a half drive, 3/4 in, inch and a half out. It's good up to 4,500 foot-pounds. So you can put a lot of torque out of these. And I've actually broke this one once. I sheared the drive off of it. And when you shear an inch and a half drive off, that's pretty shocking at that point in time. This is a Tone power wrench. It weighs roughly about 60 pounds, 55 or 60 pounds. Like I said, it is inch and a half drive coming out. Run 3/4 going in. This is, they call it a 14 to 1, but it's actually, when you deduct the gear ratio off of it, the draw of gear ratio, it's 13.6 to 1. I end up reducing mine down. I run mine from inch and a half down to 1 inch drive. More economical for me because inch and a half drive sockets are way too expensive. I have 2 arms for it, and these arms, what you end up doing is you put it up against the machine, whatever you have to torque with. If you have to go clockwise with it, the arm is going to go counterclockwise. You must stabilize that. I have this arm on. I use this arm a lot. Whether I put chains through it, a lot of times I'll attach it with a come along. Sometimes you can hook it over a bolt it fast. This is my other arm that I use, a stopper arm. It is an offset. It gives you a little bit more room, or more versatility, you know, if you have to set it in flush to get your stop. I also have some steel plates made. They're 2x4, actually they're 3x4 steel plate standoffs that I can put in on this side, and I can bolt through so that I can widen that to give me a little bit more stopping power. A lot of times what I end up doing is I'll hook my crane from my service truck into my arm to hold it. I actually use my crane for 2 reasons when I use these. This cable is attached to it so that I can maneuver it, because once you hang your adapter and your socket off of it, it gets a little heavy, and sometimes you need some extra vertical support to hold it straight on the piece that you're going to be torquing on. So I'll take that cable and I'll hook it to a chain on my service truck, on my crane, and then I will run a come along from the arm up to my hook where my chain's hanging off of to adapt to this. So that way I can use stopping power from my crane, plus use the crane for holding power to help me get that up in underneath. You know, say if I'm doing a segment on just a D8R. D8Rs aren't really that high a torque, but just use that for an example. That way you can hold it and not try to have to kill your back and everything else. I like this because I have a chart written out. I like this because being 13.6 to 1, I get 13 revolutions to 1 turn. If I'm going at 100 pounds on it, that's 1,300 foot-pounds. You know, so it makes a huge difference on breakaway. I have found out the expensive way. Don't use chrome sockets on them. I have to use a, when you get into that high torque, you're going to use a chromoly and impact socket because they will take more stress. They're more forgiving. And not to start a huge battle of the tools, I have broken more snap-on impact sockets off of this. Say if I'm doing like a 475 Komatsu track, I've broken lots of snap-on sockets compared to the cheaper sockets, and I believe it's just because the cheaper sockets they're a little softer. When I get to that higher torque, I mean, a lot of guys don't want to see a low dollar tool on there, but to tell you the honest truth, they actually held up better. Plus, when you do destroy them, that's not such a hard impact on your wallet. And yes, I know they do warranty snap-on stuff, but not always. Some of these, there is a lot on the adapters. I know on my 1 to 3/4, there is actually a maximum torque rating on the side of it. And if you shear them off, they know you're above the maximum torque rating. So, and that's a high dollar socket. That adapter is a very high dollar adapter. So when you start breaking sockets that are $400 a piece, it's much easier to swallow when you can break one that's only 60 or 80 bucks. So, but yeah, that's a tone power wrench is what that's called, and that is a fantastic tool to have in your service truck. So I figured I'd just put that out there. You don't see a lot of guys that have them. I really enjoy using that. Saves wear and tear on your 1-inch guns. Because seriously, if you're hammering away on a 1-inch gun, you're going to break an anvil. It's much easier to put that on, have it in a locked position, and just twist them loose. If you can't get it with that, it's meant to be taken off with a torch. So, y'all have a good night. I'll talk to you later. See ya.